Hey guys, we are taking a look today at some Super 7 reaction figures that were just initially released at New York Comic Con 2018, and that would be the full wave. So we got 6 figures of the Universal Monster line that they're putting out. So we have got, again, 6 figures to take a look at today. We have got the Phantom of the Opera, we have got the Metaluna Mutant, we have got the Wolfman, we have got the Creature from the Black Lagoon, we've got the Mummy, and then we've got a Mole Man. So these guys are figures that I'm honestly having a really hard time, I say this a lot, wanting to take out of the package. I bought them to take out of the package, so they're definitely coming out, but just look at the artwork on these things. These are done by the amazing Ed Repka. So if you're familiar with the band Megadeth, he does a lot of their covers. He's done tons of thrash metal album art. He also did the artwork for the Fiend figures, the initial 2 Misfit Fiend figures, as well as the King Diamond figure, and he's done a bunch of other Super 7 card art as well. So, you know, this artwork in general is just pretty stellar. I'm really amazed by some of this. The artwork on the Metaluna Mutant in particular is absolutely amazing, but it's all quality stuff. So these are card backs that I have to keep no matter what. So we've got, you know, his artwork that is on every single card, and then the back is the same on all of them. That's just a cross-sell and kind of a graveyard motif. So I'm really excited to take a look at these guys. So let's pull them all out and get to it. Alright guys, here they are out of the package, our Universal Monsters figures from Super 7. And, you know, these are figures that I wasn't really sure I was actually going to buy, but I'm very happy that I did. I almost didn't get them, and then I just couldn't control myself. And here we are, but I'm very thankful that I did, because these are some fantastic entries into the ReAction series. So we're going to take a look at them individually, of course. You know, there's not a great deal to talk about in terms of each individual figure, but we'll take a look at their sculpts and see what they each have going on. Now we're going to start off with the Mummy. I'm going to kind of work my way from my least favorite to my most favorite, but, you know, don't take that to mean that I'm not happy with these. This is a pretty fantastic Mummy figure. So we've got, you know, it's kind of a basic figure in terms of its design. Because it's a Mummy, it doesn't have some of the embellishments that some of the other figures have, but it's got a nice sculpted wrapped body. It's all sculpted detail. It's not just paint application, so it's painted with you know, that sculpt underneath it to bring everything to life. You've got the green hands, you've got the green head. It's all nicely done. It's just, you know, it's kind of on the more plain side when it comes to the Universal Monsters specifically, so it's hard to go up against some of these other ones. As far as articulation goes, we'll talk about it real quick. Head swivels, arm swivel, leg swivel. If you know ReAction, you know that that's what I was going to say. But yeah, I mean, if you always wanted a Mummy figure, you know, in this particular style, you really can't do any better than this figure right here. Very vintage aesthetic, looks great, a nice paint wash, dry brushing all over it. Very fantastic entry in the series. And, you know, if this is the least favorite for me, you have to know that it only gets much better from here. Next up, we've got our Wolfman figure, and just like the Mummy, he's kind of a basic figure compared to some of the other ones. He's not quite as detailed, but that's just what he is, you know. So he does have a little quirk to his sculpt. He's got the bent knees like the Wolfman should have. You can see his arms are also kind of in a bent pose as well. All the paint on him is really nicely done. He's got his green button down, blue pants, and the belt, and then he's got, you know, the telltale classic Wolfman head. A little bit of a, you know, different paint scheme for the face to bring out some of that that sculpt there as well, and you can see those nice white chompers in his head. So, you know, he may be a little more on the basic side, but that's a solid Wolfman figure if I've ever seen one. Third on the list, we've got our Creature from the Black Lagoon, and honestly, this was a tough spot, because we're getting to the point where I pretty much like them all almost equally, but this one got edged out a little bit, but there's a lot going on here. So everything about this figure is fully sculpted, so there's a ton of kind of scaly plates all over his body that are sculpted in there. It's kind of hard to see until you're right up on him, and then he's got all of his little bumps. That's not just paint, those are sculpted on there. You can see we've got the webbed hands, we've got the kind of fins that pop out of his arms and his legs and his back, of course, and we've got the gills that run down his head. The figure itself is covered in a nice swampy green yellow paint scheme with those big red fish lips. It's just a fantastic little figure. There's really no way to say it otherwise. If you like ReAction, if you like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, then this one's a no-brainer. It's a solid figure all around. Making our way towards the top of the list with number 4 of 6, so this would be the Mole People. So we've got a Mole Man here, and I'm kind of biased on this one because I love the design of this goofy monster to begin with. The movie itself is honestly not all that great, but I've always been a fan of this, and the sculpt on this thing is pretty wild. You can see their weird kind of bug mole head is all sculpted. It's all gnarly and nasty, similar to the creature from the Black Lagoon. He's got sculpted kind of scaly barbs all over his body. Well, what you can have because they're in this brown leather suit. He's got his big mole paws there, which is just fantastic. I'm very, very happy with that. And overall, it's a character. Well, it's not really a character. It's a type of monster that I was really, really looking forward to when I pulled the trigger on these, and I think they delivered. It's a pretty stellar incarnation of this weird monster in classic vintage 3 3/4 inch form. Runner up for my favorite figure in the wave, but my favorite figure as far as card art goes is going to be the Metaluna Mutant, and this guy is from this island, Earth. So this is a classic horror movie, classic monster movie. I'm really, really, really excited with this one. You can see he's got his nasty brain there. We've got all the little tendrils that pop off his face, his beady yellow eyes, the plating on his chest, and of course the claws for his hands, all the veins that run all over his body, baggy pants, the more claws down on his feet, and he's got the big plate on his back. So this is a pretty cool little figure. Even if you don't care about Universal Monster stuff, like this is a fun, weird little alien figure. Tons of paint detail compared to some of the other figures. He's got a little more specific paint applications because we've got varying colors all over the face, all over the arms and the legs, and then of course you've got the claws that are yellow, the eyes that are yellow, and those veins in particular that require some specific attention rather than just kind of an overspray or dry brushing. So I think this guy turned out really fantastic. I'm very, very pleased. There's only one figure that could have topped it, and honestly I was really surprised that this guy was not my number 1. Top spot is going to the Phantom of the Opera figure, and this is a really specific figure, or at least a specific look. And honestly, I never expected to say that I was favoriting a Phantom of the Opera figure, because in general, I don't care about Phantom of the Opera. It's never been my thing. But this particular figure is Phantom of the Opera as the Mask of the Red Death, and it's a very specific look, and I think Super7 did a pretty solid job of translating it into action figure form. He does have one minor change in terms of articulation, at least in terms of the looks department, because of the he's got these big robes on, so it does the big chunking thing down there. It's nothing new for this style of figure, and I don't consider it a negative. It's just more of a that's what it does. But the look here is fantastic. I think he looks really cool. You can see he's got his kind of gnarly hands there. We've got the skull. He'll go well with some Misfit Fiends, I think. We've got the flowing red robes, the big red feathers that pop out of his hat there. And then he's the only figure in this wave that actually comes with an accessory, because he has this big black staff with a skull on top, but it has the snake in silver metallic paint that wraps around it. So it's kind of an added little bonus, but the skull is really what draws me to this figure. I think Super7's just done a fantastic job with this, translating it into figure form, those nice glowing red eyes with the black accents on the teeth and the nose. How could you not like this figure? Even if you don't care about Phantom of the Opera, which again, I really don't. It's never been my thing. This figure just looks so fantastic. And coupled with the card art it comes on, so if you keep it sealed, it's even better, honestly, because they make a striking pair, but this figure is just fantastic. So there you go, guys. That is our look at the Universal Monsters figures from Super7. And like I said, these are ones that I almost didn't buy, but at the end of the day, I knew that I could not get them. And I'm so happy that I did. These are some fantastic ReAction figures. Honestly, maybe some of my favorites so far, from the card art to the figures themselves. I mean, the card art alone is absolutely beautiful. And if you're going to keep them on card, I honestly wouldn't blame you. It was pretty painful to cut these things off of those cards, but I'm going to keep them. I have to keep the card art. The figures themselves, though, are obviously fantastic. I'm very happy. That Phantom of the Opera figure is a humongous surprise as far as I'm concerned. It is fantastic. It's definitely the standout for me, but they're all pretty solid, no matter which ones you pick if you aren't all in. So that's going to do it for this look at the Super7 ReAction figure Universal Monster Wave. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.